Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bloodstained Community Broadcast. I'm your host, Zombie Mike. Merry Christmas is our Christmas episode, and joining me this time, I have Mana Ikeda.
Hi everyone, Merry Christmas. It's Mana Ikeda, and I'm the community manager for Bloodstained.
It's been a while since we got to talk like this. Thank you for coming back on.
Oh no, thank you.
All right, so let's just jump straight into it. We have a lot of great questions for you from the backers, and this is all coming off of the forum. So we'll start out with Balanced Hydra. They say, Dear Mana, now that you've had time to get to know the teams and us to a degree, how are you liking your job so far? And more importantly, is there anything we can do to make your job easier or more fun?
Well, so far it's been really great. Because we all share the same interests, and we naturally get along very well. And I think that goes same with our community because we all like the same thing, Bloodstained and everything around it. I feel very comfortable with everyone, and we all, share same interests. So it's kind of natural that we get along, and I like it. I really love it so far.
Is there anything we can do on the boards to make your job easier?
Well, that's kind of a difficult question because, I think someone on the forums was talking about with the recent update how this game is very community driven, but at the same time, if we ask the backers or we ask the community what do they want in the game, and when we ask that, it's sort of like it'll be too community driven if we ask it all the time and then they give us all these suggestions. So what we really want to know is without us giving or asking the question, like, what do you want, or the suggestions, it's best to just stay natural. How should I put this? Like,
I think I get what you're getting at. It's if we were to have a back and forth one-on-one all the time, nothing would ever get done. But if it happens naturally, then you can just see our reactions and respond to it. And to it that way. And
I feel like the backer or the community really wants to know or really wants what Iga wants to make, like not exactly what the community wants, because let's say as an example, like Iga would say, what do you want for dinner? And then you'd have like the community say like ice cream or like donuts or something all the time, and not like a sort of like an equally good meal. Then it just comes out to be like this very boring game. So we try to ask for suggestions from time to time, but not all the time, because we want to put what we want in the game too. So I think that's a very hard balance. And what the community could do is just to keep doing what they've been always doing. We give them screenshots, or like we update, and they let us know what their honest opinions are. Mm-hmm. And without us sort of asking them what they want, they should just keep on saying whatever they want, like their opinion on it without us. Yeah.
Okay. So Crocodile says, by the way, Crocodile has been doing a great job adding art images to our new art galleries. I've added a feature to where the art it looks less like a forum post thread and more like a gallery with thumbnails. Mm-hmm. And Crocodile's been doing a great job of adding and making that look great. Anyone can add pictures to that if they want to add to the collections, but Crocodile's gone above and beyond getting that jump started, and I really appreciate that. So thanks, Croc. And Croc says, number one, who are the other noteworthy characters in the game and narrative, and will they be introduced? More than once, Iga has said or implied that there are more characters to reveal. We learned about Zangetsu about a month following the end of the Kickstarter, but this has been over a year, and we have heard of nobody else. The world of the game feels small right now, so I'm anxious to meet the rest of the cast. So, I mean, can you talk about any of the other characters in the world of Bloodstained that we don't know about yet?
That's kind of hard. I remember Iga once said that Zangetsu was revealed very early on, and that wasn't planned at first. They were supposed to reveal it very late in the game, and for this year, we're not planning to reveal any characters or any of the storyline yet, because I think Iga is still planning, or he's still trying to figure out what the whole storyline for Bloodstained is. just the details really, but it's not settled in yet. So for the story and the characters, we're planning to reveal that next year, or much more when he gets confident in the storyline. And right now he's not. So we're still giving our opinions within the team about the storyline and the characters. So before we reveal it to the backers, we want to settle that in first and not, reveal anything very early on. Yeah.
That's very understandable. So Iga isn't finished with the story just yet. And I know that's his largest contribution is mostly throughout his previous games. He's directed the vision of the game and everything, but he writes all of the story himself. Yes. So how close do you think he is to getting... does he have the overall arc already nailed in and he's just filling in details in between? Or where do you think he's at with the story as we sit right now?
Well, actually, he's pretty much finished with it. But at the same time, he's not very, he's not confident, or he doesn't think it's finished yet. He actually sent me the storyline for Bloodstained, like the whole story from the start to finish. And he asked me, like, what am I missing, or like what should I add, or should this character do this, or do you feel that this character isn't as engaging? And to me, well, it's almost complete, but at the same time, I feel like it still needs some work. And the other people in our team also feels that way. So we are sort of finished with it from start to finish, but at the same time, it still needs a lot more work and detail into the storyline. Yeah.
It sounds like a full rough draft, though, is definitely done.
Yeah.
And there are more characters than what we've been revealed, right?
Yes. Okay. There's going to be, 3 playable characters, and we'll probably reveal that, next year.
And as far as the non-playable characters, are there NPCs that we interact with that, that are just part of the world?
Yeah, actually, there's going to be some of the villagers, and that's going to be pretty cool. And but we haven't gotten to them yet. We have some of the characters sort of settled in right now. So we should probably reveal that later on.
Okay. Well, I think you just revealed that there's a village, but we kind of knew that already because of the art that was in the background from all of that.
Yeah.
That proposed.
I remember we revealed like some art stuff for that, so I think that's good to talk about.
Yeah. So can you tell us any more about that village?
No.
That's fine. There is a village. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And it has villagers. Okay. So Crocodile had another question. Have you guys decided who the other playable characters are, main and prequel, and how they will play like? If not, will you decide Eagle Alone, internal committee, community opinion, etc.? Note, I'm not asking you to reveal them yet, just what we've already decided. I guess we kind of already covered that. Did you have anything to add regarding his question?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it enough.
Okay, and the third question from Croc is, will there be more opportunities for community participation in the vein of the familiar and shader votes from the Kickstarter, or the castle design topic on the forums that we had a while back?
I hope so. Right now, before the shader, how should I say it? Like, opinion on that sort of question. Right now we're not very, we're pretty much settled on what we want in the game. So I'm not sure if we'll have that much later. I really hope so though. But it's sort of like we're going out of order. It's very hard. I remember we were talking about the design, how should I say, suggestion threads, and where I would translate those and then submit it to the team. But with the way things are right now, the team could be talking about certain modes, like the multiplayer mode, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Hey, well, what are we gonna do for the speedrun mode?" So it's kind of like going like from one topic to another, and it's very hard to sort of gather the suggestions beforehand, because I don't know what the team will be talking about, next week, or even that day. They'll be, from the problem they have right now, they'll just solve it from there. So
Okay. Is it useful that we have those threads for speedrun mode and
Yeah,
other modes and stuff already there?
it's very useful.
Okay.
Because I could just pop up the thread and just look through those whatever the team is talking about right now. Just open up the thread
Great.
and see all the questions and opinions on them. So.
Well, I'm glad our feedback being organized like that is useful to
Yeah,
the queue.
it's very very useful. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, on to the next person. And Kyria Jin asked, would you consider making it possible for us to choose difficulty right at the start? And the nightmare mode, would you make us toggle around with options like health, damage, etc. before the game?
Nothing's settled yet, but I don't think we will have a toggle. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I don't think I could answer that right now.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
They say, I've seen in the enemies videos from the E3 demo, they die differently across different means of weapons and alchemy, and they think that's very nice. They say, so this question would raise a difficult task to implement into the game, but I have seen some enemies in your previous games trying to attack you as they draw their final breath. Would this be in the game somehow? Perhaps in the bosses?
Perhaps. I can't say for sure, but most likely though.
Okay, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I've always enjoyed that too, personally.
Yeah.
Like they have that
too.
Dying Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Will all tracks be included in the soundtrack? That means from all modes and styles. If not, may we get an option to download the rest of the songs once the album is out?
I think if we do release a soundtrack, I think every tracks are included. But I don't know. I can't say for sure about the one that's for backer exclusive, because I think we promised one of them, to send out a backer exclusive track. So I wouldn't be sure if that would be included, because that should be something exclusive to the Kickstarter backers. But okay. I think whatever's in the game should be all included if we do release it. So.
All right. Will all platforms of Bloodstained get equal updates? We know that, for example, GOG has less updates in general by developers than for Steam games.
Oh, that's very hard. I'm not sure about that, because it would really depend on how they're all going to be implemented. And I wouldn't be part of that. So, yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I can't say for sure though. Okay. I don't know about it.
Will there be any armor items that you can toggle around with colors and skins to customize Miriam? Maybe the most powerful set could have it. So can you change the appearance of the armors themselves, or does every armor have a set look?
I can't say it, but it's going to be, I know it, but it's going to be very similar to Symphony of the Night. So I'll leave that up to you guys.
Okay, that's fine. Read between the lines.
But yeah.
All right. Will the prequel minigame have the same sprites from the classic mode? If no, what is the plan on the prequel in terms of graphics, and will it all be DLC? So the last I checked with you about the prequel minigame, we didn't know much about it. Has any progress been made about that?
Internally, yes, but we can't say much about it because there's, this whole contract issue. So we can't really say, we're like, it's an NDA thing. So we know it's been moving internally, but we can't really say anything out in the public yet. Who's
the NDA with?
Ooh, that's a secret.
Okay.
Can't reveal it yet.
All right, cool.
But we will soon, or soon, much later, but yeah, we should be able to.
All right. Will there be a second alpha release before beta?
Well, I'm not really sure because I remember we did promise something similar to it, which is like the early access feature on Steam, but I'm not sure if that would be considered beta, so maybe not. Let's see, because I remember the demo and the beta was completely separate, and I'm not sure if the alpha is considered or sort of in the same. Well, maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. Would you consider to add at least one environmental function to each familiar? So will the familiars have things that they can do to the environment, like we've seen in previous games?
Oh.
Like the fairy would find hidden items, and the demon would hit a button.
I'm not sure yet about that. We do have similar familiars with the ones from Symphony of the Night, but I don't know much about the details on them, like what they do in the game. But
okay.
I think it would be something similar, but I can't really say for sure.
They ask, are we going to see the mac and cheese and donuts in the game as a tribute to your last journeys? I would rather that be a surprise, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, you'll see until the game comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will silly cheat codes be something we get while playing, seeing it on walls and such? And what exactly is a silly cheat code? And will there be codes to make you become far more or less overpowered? Example, unlimited health.
Oh, this is yeah, I don't think any of our team really knows about this except for Iga, and I think he has something in mind, but we all don't know about it yet. It's all these we were looking at the milestone, and there's one with the silly cheat codes, and I asked what it was all about, and they didn't answer me. So I think they have something in mind, but they don't want to share it yet.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next person. Vampire, they asked a couple of questions. Number one, have you played Final Fantasy 15 yet? One of the biggest emphases in the game is food, with food so good looking in the game that essentially looking at it made many gamers less lazy and learn how to cook. So, expanding on that, I guess, have you played Final Fantasy 15?
Actually, not yet, but I know like a couple of our members played the demo, and they were talking about that. I remember one of the days, one of the guys that were playing Final Fantasy 15, they were talking about the rice bowl that's in the game, and that has the same amount of like polygon or like texture as Leviathan in the game. So they were like, why would they do that? Why would they waste so much on just this rice bowl? And like, just the amount of resource they put into this, it's, I don't know, absurd. But at the same time, I feel like that kind of paid off well because everyone's
because
talking
now
about
we're talking
food.
about it, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the food. So,
well,
so I guess that paid off. But it looks really interesting. Yeah.
If it's one thing I've noticed since all of this started with the forums and everything, is that Iga's fans really love food in their games, and even using the food as weapons. So I don't know where all that sits. I don't know if you want to talk about how food currently exists in the game, but it's definitely something people are interested in.
Yeah. I can't go into details, but we do have a lot in mind for the game, for the food. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Vampire says, as I recall, David Hayter is the voice of Solid Snake, is said to be doing the voice work of the main villain in the game. Is there a chance we could see a video from him in the future discussing the game or possibly answering some fan questions?
That's possible, but I haven't talked about it much with our team. We haven't really talked about the voice acting yet.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that would go much later. But we are coming up with some of the how should I say, like conversation, like the dialogue for them to act out. But we haven't really settled on with the actress yet, or actor. Yeah.
Okay. David Hayter's still a go though, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. He's great. Do you think Iga would consider throwing a side-scrolling 8-bit segment into the game as a throwback to the original Castlevania?
I'm not sure. I don't know. He probably has to say that himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although a bit of a touchy subject, recently Konami unveiled Metal Gear Survive, which is a spin-off game of the Metal Gear franchise, and which was met with quite a lot of people of the series being disappointed. Do you feel Konami will ever touch the Castlevania series again, or will they do something similar with the Castlevania series and make a spin-off? Or do you feel that after Lords of Shadow, they're done with this series?
Actually, none of us really know about what Konami is going to do with the Castlevania series. We know they're just sort of leaving it, there, like, as a backup. But I think they're not going to make any console games. I feel like they're going to focus on, like I guess like the slot machines, like the pachinko stuff. So we're not sure about it. I mean, they should. We talk about this sometimes, and I think they should just sell it off maybe. But yeah, we don't really know much about it.
Okay. Esteban wants to know: will procedural generation be used to give enemies in the game some variation as well?
That's a good question. And no, I don't think so. And this is because we always want to sort of hand make all the enemies and the characters and the level design. And with the background, we wanted to sort of generate that quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, especially with the enemies, we want to make it each of them unique. So I doubt we'll be using procedural generation on those.
The enemies being unique, it would be to have little variations to where one
Yeah.
monster that's the same type looks a little different. That would be cool to see it used that way, but I don't know if that would mess up the look more than help it.
Right, and procedural generation is very heavy on the system. So when you want to run a game on like the PlayStation 4 or Xbox, I don't think it would run smoothly if we do add procedural generation for the characters as well. I think that would be difficult. Yeah.
Procedural generation is done during runtime. I thought that was kind of baked in after it was ran.
It's going to be baked in, especially with the background. But if we're talking about like character and the way we're going to generate enemies, I think that would be very, very difficult. Or it's very heavy on the system.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. Bloodstained Miriam asks, now that you've been a community manager for some time, what have you seen from us that really stuck out to you? Artwork, our comments, cosplay, fan pages, cough like mine cough, they say. They run the Bloodstained Miriam's Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. What really stuck out? Because usually when we think about like fan works, we think about like just artwork, I guess cosplay. But I've seen a lot of like different kinds of fan made work. Like someone made like a cross stitch of like like G-Bell. So that was pretty interesting to see. And we also received like a mug cup that had a like Bloodstained artwork printed on it, which was pretty cool.
I'd like to see that. I don't think I've seen that yet.
Oh, really? I should post that. Yeah. And especially when we went to Mexico, we received like this, like really pretty skull, and that was crazy.
I have seen that. That wasn't edible, was it?
No.
All right. No, somebody was explaining to me what those skulls were for, and I was like, "There's no way you can eat that."
No.
Okay, so Astaroth says, "Could we get a glimpse of Vipar and maybe see some of how the new ideas or concepts for her? I love her design and even the colors, and with a bit of moving the colors around." The very poison tree frog look at me brightness coupled with the fleshy or gray skin tone for the lure would play up the horrific demon anglerfish role she has. We saw in another interview someone had asked, and you said that Vipar's undergoing some changes. We don't know the extent of those, if they're just visual or mechanical or both. But can you tell us more about that?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both of her movement and as well as her looks. We've had a lot of mixed feelings about her looks, and but the people that were saying that they like Vipar's look, told us that they love it like colorful and it looks pretty good. Like it's not bad, but at the same time we felt that wasn't the aim that we were going for. That wasn't what we wanted to have. So we decided, it's not what we wanted. So we're going to sort of like make some adjustments, make her colors a little bit more, how should I say, like toned down a little bit and make it a little bit more, I guess scarier. I think the colorfulness is sort of making it a little bit too cartoony for us. So that's not what we want for her to look like. And with the movements, I think they were talking about a little bit about her movement and how it's kind of a little bit awkward right now, or that's what the team feels right now. So I think they're going to sort of make it a little bit smoother, especially her movements. But I can't really promise that. I have to sort of check in. But I think that's the kind of adjustments they're going to make for her.
Okay. This is my own question. When Vipar was designed, how much of her design is Iga's direction, and how much is Inti Creates? Because Inti Creates was doing most of the E3 demo stuff.
I think what Iga usually just tells the concept artist, or I guess this is Natsume-san, right? Designing it. So he would just say what he kind of wants. He wants this siren-like boss where they lure the sailors, and when they approach her, she has this like the bottom part of her body is like a huge monster. I think that's about what he told the artist, and when they design her, that's all up to Inti Creates to sort of design that look for her. So other than the actual concept for the boss, I think most of it is left up to Inti to create that.
I see. Okay. So Astaroth's other question was, are there plans to include ways for players to have more control over progression? I'm OCD when it comes to item collection, and it makes me super OP very early. Having ways for players to tailor their progression a little with each game beyond challenge modes, like level caps, would be really cool.
Oh, that's kind of hard because with people like Astaroth, where they sort of level up very early on in the game and be pretty OP on how should I say very start of the game. We really have to how should I say this because we were talking about this, and we have levels and things like that for players who aren't very good at action game. Bloodstained is mostly just like this, action game where even though you don't have any, weapons, or you could still beat the game without any of those if you're a very skilled player or a very, very skilled action player. So when players level up very early on, or when those skilled players level up very early on, we can't really control that because that's really left for players who aren't very skilled at it. So I'm not sure how that would how we would control that.
Yeah, that's always been the big difficulty with these games is that when I play through Symphony of the Night, I don't intentionally grind. I just try to explore naturally, and then as powerful as I am when I get to a boss, it's just as powerful as I am. And if I have problems beating them, then I'll maybe go back and explore other parts of the castle, and then I feel like, okay, I've leveled up a few times, I should try that again. But it's definitely an issue because, some people would be like, well, I want to be able to blow through this easily. Why would I want to be a weaker character? And they'll just grind a lot, and then they can kind of do that. So it's always been an odd balance. A lot of people think Symphony was too easy. But to increase challenges, it would be nice to be able to limit yourself or have different modes up front to be able to do things.
Right. I think that's the reason why we're going to be adding like more difficulty modes for it, just so those players could be, are able to play a much more difficult game, and not for the, as a default sort of, I guess, game difficulty.
I've seen some in-detailed descriptions on how that can be controlled in the forums.
Oh, really?
People have had some really good conversations about enemy respawnings and different kinds of stuff. So if you want more, I can guide you to where that's at on the forum.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, let's continue to get questions here. Wise and Craft, they say, will weapons be upgradable through souls like Dawn of Sorrow, or will we need to find the best weapons hidden in locations like in Aria of Sorrow? I prefer the Aria of Sorrow way because I prefer finding weapons through exploration rather than grinding and upgrading them. And that's their first question.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no comment on that right now. Okay.
Okay. Will souls have multiple power levels like Dawn of Sorrow? Like, if you get a soul more than once, does it get more powerful? I did notice in the E3 demo you could get souls more than once.
Yeah, you could, and it does actually. But I'm not sure how it would work more in detail. But you could get it multiple times.
Okay. Do you think that forces more grinding?
I don't think so. Hopefully not, but I'll have to see how that works in the game. I'm not sure yet.
All right, Galamoth. They ask, serious question number 1. As of this point in time, do you know if any voice actors / actress, Japanese and English both, have been chosen for this role for Miriam and Zangetsu yet?
We haven't really decided yet, but we did come up with a lot of voice actors' names for Miriam and for other characters. We have this sort of like, image for each of them. So we did kind of send that in before. Nothing has been decided yet, and hopefully we could have the voice actors that we really really want. But yeah, that's been sent in and it's not decided yet. But there is some progress in it.
Okay. Well, I guess the natural question from that, if you could have anybody in the world do the voice acting for the main characters, who would it be?
Oh, that's actually I can't answer this because I've also sort of asked for it. Like this person should be for Miriam, or this person should be for Zangetsu, and that's been kind of sent through. So if it happens to be that person, that would mean I'll be spoiling it. So I can't answer that.
Okay. Serious question number 2. Since this game will include enemies inspired by some of the demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon, if not all 72 of them, do you think that there's a distinct possibility that certain demons will be allies for Miriam, or do you think all of them will be normal or boss enemies?
Oh, that's an interesting question. From what I know, they're mostly all of them will be just enemies or the bosses, and I don't know if we're going to include all of them, and I'm not sure if the familiar list that I know is all of it, and maybe we might add some more, perhaps, but I can't really say for sure.
Okay, there are a couple of demons that I like out of the GOTA that are good aligned, and it would be interesting to see how those were utilized in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, and silly question from Galamoth. Will yours truly be self-proclaimed Lord of Space to be in the game, at least as a cameo of sorts?
I really wish, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I really wish too.
But if he does, we'll probably have to like redesign the whole thing so we could just like run away from the copyright stuff. So
understandable.
Yeah, but that'd be pretty. That's a pretty awesome idea.
Okay, and Maximus has renamed themselves JoJo, so welcome to Maximus 2.0. They're obviously a big JoJo fan, Bizarre Adventures. JoJo asks, what kind of age rating is IGA looking for Bloodstained? I know that both Steam and GOG don't need an age rating, but specifically for the consoles, because due to one game, Tales of Berseria, they even promised not to censor anything. This raised many concerns in censorship for Bloodstained.
Hopefully we're aiming towards teen because that it's we don't want to restrict it as much, but at the same time we're gonna go for more sort of mature rating, like close to mature rating teens, hopefully. But if it does end up being a little bit more, I guess, graphic, or depending on how they're gonna rate it, it might be M-rated. But we're gonna try to keep it as teens, like we did in Castlevania, Symphony of the Night.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a possibility that the age rating would go up.
All right. I think it's mostly for older folks anyway, fans of previous games, but
right.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I'll be interested in knowing how much censorship will be involved, but that's not going to be until the end of the project, that we have to censor. But and that will also be left up to, I guess, the localization team, or is that more of an IGA decision?
Actually, that's more up to the publisher, or like when we release the alpha, I guess. There's going to be people from the ratings that are going to rate the game. So depending on them, the rating it's decided by them. So we don't have much control over that.
Well, hopefully, all of us, we all hate censorship. So
yeah, but since the IGA knows, well, he's been putting out a lot of games. He pretty much knows what the age restrictions are, so
okay,
shouldn't be a problem.
Elfina Ashfield says, how does it feel working with IGA and crew? May you give us some trivial during the everyday work cycle stuff, they love hearing the details.
Yeah. I enjoy going to lunch with the crew. It's pretty, I guess, personal. Or it's funny because we talk about work during our work hour, but even during lunch, we still talk about work. But it's kind of a little bit different because everyone's more honest while they're eating. So it's really interesting to hear what they're thinking about, during their off hours. And how should I say, like we always talk about other games too, and it's really interesting to hear their opinions on them. If it's good or bad, what they should have done with their game, or what they liked about other companies' game, etc. So I think that's pretty interesting to hear. While we're eating.
Yeah, definitely would be.
Yeah.
What have they been impressed with other people's games? What's caught their attention?
Oh, there was this one time where we all were playing like Pokemon Go, and we were pretty impressed with how much of an exposure they got. But at the same time, we were talking about how they should have done this, or I like what they did with this part, and there was this whole like good and bad opinions like about the game, and that was pretty interesting to hear from our team's end.
Did you catch the Pikachu with the Santa hat?
Yes, I did. And I posted that on my Twitter, so that's really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I caught it too. I really don't play much anymore.
Yeah, but, me too. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so that was awesome. Thank you. Purify Word Soul asks, number 1, will you continue to feed Iga things he has never had before?
Yes, I will. If I get the chance to, because we were at E3 and we were looking at the menu, and usually when we go out and eat, we always choose the safe option. So when I was looking at the menu, I was like, hey, nothing could go wrong with mac and cheese. We should try it out. And when I said that, Iga was like, what is mac and cheese? So
cool.
So yeah, it's like, oh, we gotta order it. And so yeah, I do plan to feed him things that he's never eaten before if we do go out and out of country. Yeah.
Do you think that he's had mac and cheese since then?
I don't know. I don't think so. They don't have it much here in Japan, so hopefully it will.
We might have to send a care package. Okay, so Purify We're Sold also asks, what's been the most surprisingly enjoyable part of what you do?
I think I answered this before. Or it's part of the question before. I enjoy the lunch part of it, where we're all honest about our work, and things that outside of work too. They talk about it, and I think that's what I enjoy most about my work. But I do enjoy like everything else other than that. And what's surprisingly enjoyable is that usually I'm very introverted and I hate going out to the public. And when I'm kind of like forced to do it as my job, I found it surprisingly, I guess, enjoyable. Although really? I'm not. Yeah. Well, how should I say it? Like before, I was like, oh, I could never do this. It's impossible. Like even like right now, where I'm talking, in this BCB episode, like me before, I wouldn't be able to do this. Like I would just like back away from everything that goes out in the public. So, but right now, I find it surprisingly enjoyable. I can't do it very well, but
Oh, you're just being humble. That's his humbleness rubbing off on you.
No. But really, I found it surprisingly enjoyable. So I think that's awesome. A plus for me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing great with it. You said that same kind of stuff when we first met on the last Bloodstained community broadcast, and I've seen some interviews with you. Initially, you seemed kind of nervous, but since then, especially in the Philippines when you did all of those interviews, there were so many of them. You just got really comfortable, and it seemed very natural when you were translating back and forth with Iga and the interviewers that you're just a natural at it. So it's really good to see that you're enjoying it, and you're doing a great job.
No, but I think it's because everyone's really nice, and like even you commented after the video was out, and you said I did a great job, and that really makes me feel good. So I found that surprisingly enjoyable. Yeah, doing all these interviews.
Yeah, the more interviews, the better. So,
Yeah.
thank you for staying up so late and doing this
No,
interview. Okay, so back to Purified Werewolf's questions. He says, "What can we do to make your job easier or better?"
Um, like the first question, I think just the way the community is running now is just it's already making my job easier, and it's making it very easy to like pick out some of the great suggestions that we get on forums. So I think just doing what we do, or posting opinion on the updates and like what they think about it without us giving our thoughts on it is already making my job easier. So, just post the way you've always been posting, I guess.
Yeah.
Just the way the community is already great. So.
Now that's the end of his questions, except for they wanted me to ask about any Christmas season related stuff. I don't know if that's game related or ego related or you related. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about that. Well, I mean, we did talk about sort of like Christmas and everything, but nothing very much planned. Well, I'll check that on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got what, Christmas or New Year party coming up?
Yeah. Very small one, but that should be fun.
So this is my own question. With the involvement in the forums, Iga's not a native English speaker, so does he browse anyway and try to do any like translation, or is that all just you bringing stuff to him?
Most of the time, because he's usually like out and not on his computer all the time. So when he comes back, I usually like summarize or point to a certain post that some of the members make and sort of translate that back to him. And sometimes if I'm just I guess when I'm lazy or or when he should just look at it himself, I usually just send him a link on just like the Google Translate how should I say, like site translator and have him look at that, because I think that's more personal. And the recent Google Translate has been pretty good. So they made a really good update on that, where it's more accurate now. And I think he does look at it. He does look at the forum sometimes.
Good. Well, let's continue. Mark 2 asked, well, I just have to ask what got you into art, but if the question requires too personal of an answer, how about telling us your favorite artist? Or both.
Both. Well, it kind of came naturally to me. Or whenever, how should I say? I think the first time I picked up a video game, or when I played a game, that's when I started to draw. Because I always wanted to draw like my favorite game characters, and it sort of came with playing video games, and that's how I started drawing, because I wanted to draw my favorite characters. So and my favorite artist, that's a difficult question, because
it doesn't have to be number one. You could just name a few.
Yeah. Oh no, but one of my favorites is very Ayami Kojima, and her art's like beautiful and everything. So
we all agree.
There was this phase where like I wanted to be her, and like I wanted to draw like her, and I used to sort of like how should I say, like copy her style a little bit into my own work. So she's definitely one of my favorites. And tomorrow I'm gonna be meeting her, and it's really surreal. Wow. Yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, take some pictures.
Yeah, and I'm gonna definitely.
And Kiria Jin asked another question: will there only be one silly cheat code? No, they say, will there be only silly cheat codes or some serious game changer cheat codes?
I don't think there's going to be a serious game changer, especially because, with the way we want to make the game, it has to be sort of like with the given default, I guess, features. We want the players to play how should I say, like, as much as they can without having any sort of additional features on it. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll still have to talk about that. But I know there's going to be mostly silly cheat codes, and that's what we promised too. So yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay. Goop Sausage says, are there any fun behind-the-scenes story from Artplay you'd like to share? And, well, we've got the lunch stories, but did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Silly stories. Did I mention we were playing Pokemon Go, and where near our office there was a Dragonite, and and we were looking at like this, I guess, like the Pokemon, I guess, Go map, and it tells us that we could make it on time. And I was looking at it, and I told Iga, do you, like, if we go out right now, we could make it. What do you want to do? and then he says, like, yeah, let's go right now. And we all went, like, our whole team went that day, and it was raining outside. And we were like, do you still want to go out? We could probably make it if we run. And like Iga says, like, yeah, let's run. So we all started running, but the rain was like getting very heavy.
Oh, Lord.
So we were running like during the heavy rain just to catch a Dragonite, and like that was so like weird and I guess hilarious, because we all got drenched just to catch a Dragonite, and all these people were like watching us like, what are they doing? Like, it's out in this rain and no one's has like an umbrella. So that was pretty interesting. And I think another interesting thing was where a lot of our computers started to break, and well, that's not a good thing, but it was sort of like this curse. But otherwise, everything's, I don't know, it's just, we always try to have fun, and how should I say, yeah, we just want to have fun. So
did you catch the Dragonite?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We actually caught the Dragonite.
And we all came back. It got away.
Yeah. We all caught it, and we went back into our office. We were all drenched, and yeah, we just went back to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So computer issues, I hope all of that stuff got resolved.
Yeah.
Is that after you moved to your new place?
Yeah, it was after.
Okay.
And that's all resolved, so.
Excellent. Goop Sausage also asks, what are some of your favorite moments from events that you've attended with Iga?
My favorite moments? Well, definitely one was during E3 where we had the mac and cheese. That's one. What else? I think one was in like Philippines where we went out to eat. And for some reason we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what we could eat outside, and we were like talking about how is it safe, or like, oh, should we go here? But we ended up going to a ramen place, which was pretty weird because there's a lot of ramen places in Japan. So going to a ramen place in Philippines was a sort of weird, but I think that was pretty fun. What else? Well, I can't come up with anything right now, but if I did,
that's great.
I would totally like post it on the forums.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Goop Sausage says, have you been able to play much of Bloodstained in its current state?
In its current state, no, but I did see it running on our computer at our office, and it's looking great. Mostly we've been working on the visual part of Bloodstained, and talking about whether there should be a lighting on here, or should the colors be more of a different color than this other part of the game. And especially how should I say, since we've been talking about the procedural generation, and we've just had that update right now, we've been talking more about that in our office. So yeah, that's pretty much the main thing we're working on, and what I've seen for Bloodstained gameplay.
Okay. I asked you this in the first time you came on, but Goop Sausage is asking again, and maybe you'll have a different answer this time. Will you be contributing any artwork to Bloodstained?
Actually, I might. Iga actually talked about this with me, if I was interested, and if if I wanted to draw some parts of Bloodstained, which I said, yeah, that'd be great. But we still have to talk about like how it how should I say, like how he's going to pay me. Is it going to be outside of the salary, or with the salary, and etc. And but otherwise, I might be able to if it goes out well.
Cool.
Yeah, and especially I can't really say like what part yet, but it's definitely very fitting as a community manager. So if you read between the lines, you might guess what it is.
If I was to read between the lines, and you don't have to comment on this, I would say character portraits maybe. But you don't have to comment on that. We can just leave that up to our own imaginations. But that's surprising to hear, because I know that art's your passion. Art's what got you into this industry. Mm-hmm. And it would be such a waste if your talents were to go unused at Artplay, because your art's really good. We all like it. So Goop Sausage also asks, is there anything about living and working in Japan that you're still adjusting to?
There's a lot of things that I'm still adjusting to, because it's very different from America, and just the system is very different. So like for example, if I were to buy a ticket for like a zoo, or like I guess for the train or whatever, for anything, I didn't know that you had to put in the money first, and then whatever options I needed to add in. And every time I was trying to press the buttons, like all the buttons, and it's like, why isn't this working? And I found out that you had to put in the money first and then press the options. So that I wasn't used to that at first, because before when I was buying like train ticket or something, I would choose the options first and then put in whatever money it requires. But in Japan, it's opposite, and everyone behind me were like, what is she doing? Like, so I was sort of adjusting to that. And also like it's very subtle things that I need to adjust to, and it's very hard, because no matter how you look at me, I'm like an ordinary Japanese person, so everyone's like, wait, why is she doing that? Like like if I was like a complete, like my looks look like a complete foreigner, like people would understand. But like just like the slightest things, like buying a ticket, or like actually ordering food is very different. So I'd have to like adjust to that kind of thing. But otherwise, it's been great living here.
Around holiday times like this, are you missing people back home?
Yes, I do. Before I used to go to my friend's house, and we would celebrate Christmas, and we'd have a little bit of a Christmas party. But coming to Japan, it's very different here in Japan, because we don't. No one does like a home party. We would just go out, and if there's just to go out and eat, and I think that's great too. But I kind of miss that like home feeling that we usually get back in America, where we would just celebrate it at our homes.
I see. Well, Merry Christmas, and I hope that as much as you can bring your traditions there, I hope you find a way to do it your way.
Yeah.
Okay, so Goop Sausage also asked, do you know if Iga will attend any gaming events in 2017 or hold any Bloodstained panels at them?
I don't know. Actually, we did sort of say that we're gonna go to this event in Europe somewhere, but it's not a definite. He might cancel it. I'm not sure. But otherwise, all the events we haven't gotten an invitation yet for next year. So if we do, we might. But at the same time, we want to focus on the actual Bloodstained development. So not as much, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna go to like major events though, like E3, or like some of the major gaming events. I'm not sure about the smaller ones, or yeah.
I see. All right, Ray Soul has a few questions. Have any developments been made on the prequel minigame? And you said NDA was the answer to that, right?
Yeah. But yeah, internally there is some progress.
Okay. Cool. My biggest question regarding that is, do we know if the retro style for that, or what the graphics? What is that going to be, like a 32-bit, 16-bit, 8-bit, or just a total 2.5D? Do you know the style that prequel minigame's going to be in?
I'm not sure. It's going to be either 8-bit or 16-bit. I'm not sure, but we might change it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's one or the two. Yeah.
Well, I hope I didn't just make you break an NDA. I'm sorry.
No. But
Okay.
even I'm not sure about that yet. So.
All right. Disclaimed appropriately.
Disclaimed.
Thank you. Raisel also asked, when you guys were in Mexico, Michiru Yamane, she played a little bit there, and we saw a little bit of recording. Having an official video on YouTube for that would be great. Have we thought about setting up a concert with her in mind?
Actually, I think Pixelato, like the official, I think they released the footage online officially. So we haven't really touched upon that, or we haven't really, uploaded any videos on that. But I think they do have a recording on that. I have to check. But
yeah, it's on our external links.
I think so. So, and a concert and a Bloodstained concert. We haven't talked about it, but hopefully we will. I really do hope we will. But that's probably still in the future. We don't know about it yet.
Okay, and Raisel also asks, considering that Bloodstained features a female lead, will there be an attractive male demon like an incubus instead of a succubus?
I'm not sure. Maybe we might. I've never really thought about that.
Well, with the demons of the Gautier, there are some that can shapeshift in things. So right. I think there's some potential there.
Yeah.
I've taken up plenty of your time. If you would like to stop, now would be a good time. Unless you had anything else you wanted to share.
No. I think I've answered a lot of the questions, and if I did miss anything, I would probably post it on the forums and answer whatever. If you want to ask me any personal questions or anything else that you don't want to post on the forums, you could just private message me anytime, and yeah. Otherwise, I'll be online on the forums every day. So.
And there's your direct email too, and they can find that on the forums. That's in your profile, I believe.
Right.
And I would be remiss if I didn't bring this topic up. I'm surprised no one asked about it, but one of the biggest topics on the forums right now is the potential to switch from the Wii U to the Switch.
Right.
Are there any plans on maybe giving us a poll to say to the backers, because Fangamer's really good with sending out polls to every backer, not just those that are on the forum. Is there any plans on starting a conversation with us regarding that, or are you just looking on the forums for the overall feel? Because we ran our own poll in the forums is currently 90% in favor of switching to the Switch, but and normally our polls actually do align as a good cross section with the majority of the backers. We saw that when it came to polling our polls versus the official polls on the shaders and stuff. But as far as the Switch goes, does Ego want to start a conversation with us, or is he already hearing us? What's going on?
Yeah, that's a difficult question to answer, but he is hearing, and I've been telling Ego about what the community thinks about the Switch and what they think about the Wii U and everything. So he's very much aware of it, and we've been thinking about this a very long time actually. But I can't give any sort of answer to that. I'm not sure if the community will be actively involved in that. I will say though that if we do or we don't, the community will be the first people to know about that and or be part of that decision. And but I'm not sure how they'll do that. But I think yeah, I can't really say much about it, but we should be making some sort of decision or soon.
Okay. And I did get one last minute question from Machinist out on the Discord. We have a Discord channel now.
Oh.
They were asking about the retail version. Will there be a retail version that sells not just a the physical copies are not just for backers, but they're going to go put them on store shelves?
I'm pretty sure, but I can't really say so because this is up to 505 Games, and they will have to sort of share this with everyone. So I can't really say anything on my side. I think that it's up to 505 to talk about.
All right. Yeah, they were also asking about if there would be backer exclusive content, left out of that, if it would be more expensive than what we're seeing now in the Kickstarter versus less expensive, and all the details. But I guess 505 needs to make all the decisions on that.
Right.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts for us?
I don't know. I hope everyone enjoys their holiday. I can't really think of anything right now, but yeah.
Well, we really enjoy having you on the forums, and thank you so much for spending time with me and talking about Bloodstained. It's great seeing you out there doing interviews and on our forums and on the Twitter. Everything's so cool. So we're still going strong as a community, and I know that the project has a lot of time left, but meetings like this really put the energy back into just the hype for Bloodstained.
Right.
I'm still totally into this game, and I can't wait for it to come out. So thank you for being part of that with us.
No, thank you. I mean, the game isn't going to be out for a very long time, and I'm really glad and thankful that everyone's really hyped about it. They want to actively be involved in the discussion, and yeah, that really helps us a lot, more than you guys think. So we're really grateful for that.
Well, send Iga our best, and once again, thank you.
Yes.
And that concludes our episode. So thank you everyone for listening, and
thank you.
We will see you on the forums. Bye, everyone.
Bye.